So 10 years ago, I started a coffee machine rental business. And when I started that business, I knew absolutely zero about sales and absolutely zero about marketing. For that reason, my first endeavor was to contact a bunch of marketing agencies. And after working with a bunch of them, I found fairly quickly that their goals and my goals were slightly misaligned, in the sense that I cared only about the numbers. I wanted to make sales, so I wanted to find customers. And their goals were primarily around likes, comments, shares, all the vanity metrics, which for me made no money and therefore made no difference. For that reason, I kind of got obsessed and immersed in the world of digital marketing, which led me down many rabbit holes. And essentially, the growth of our business came primarily from digital marketing. Throughout that process and becoming immersed in it, I got really obsessed with optimization. And when I talk about optimization, I would optimize every single aspect we were doing, from our LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, Google ads. And these would take weeks or months to get them to essentially almost the most optimized point I could get them to. And the part that left me frustrated was that all of these optimizations at best resulted in about 10 or 20% improvement. And after spending these months, it was kind of disappointing, because I found, to get 20% improvement of 2 or 3 months of work is not great shakes. And this led me to what they call conversion optimization. So for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's essentially optimizing the traffic on your website once that's there. So anyone doing marketing, or anyone that's not doing marketing at all to their website, typically has traffic from a number of sources, whether it be from Google, from Facebook, from LinkedIn, whatever it may be. And what I found in this process is that our conversion rates were terrible. And when I speak about a conversion rate, whether you run a normal website where your end goal is leads, or if you run an e-commerce website where your end goal is transactions, you have a definitive end goal. And for us at that stage, our conversion rate from traffic to leads was 2%, meaning for every 100 people that came to the website, only 2 of those would eventually convert into leads, which was terribly disappointing, terribly saddening. And that led me down to trying to understand what causes 98% of people that come to your website to not make the action that you want them to take. So today I'm going to share essentially the process that we do for conversion optimization for ourselves and for our clients. And I'm hoping that will assist you and your businesses to get more leads or more sales and so on. Now, about 3 years ago, when I started Syte, which is we call ourselves analytical marketers, doing pretty much what I did for myself for 10 years, but now for other companies, I found almost without exception, every single company we work with has the same challenge. When we start analyzing a website, every website we're analyzing is converting somewhere between 1% and 3% for a lead generation website. And usually in South Africa, somewhere between 0.5 and 1.5% for an e-commerce website. So the tactics or the techniques I want to show you today are quite easy to implement, even for beginners. And when one does implement them, what one can typically see usually improvements of 3 or 4x. That's 300 or 400% in terms of improvement. So if you're getting 2 leads and you're improving it by three times, you're eventually getting 6 leads for every 100 people coming through. And the beauty of conversion, why I'm so passionate about it, is that feeds through backwards throughout the funnel. So you don't have to spend 3 times more on Google ads to get 3 times the results. Same as Facebook, same as LinkedIn. If you can get this part right, this should essentially feed back throughout your funnel. So firstly, I think the important point for everyone when one starts in undertaking conversion optimization for their own website is to actually understand what is your current conversion rate. So super simple to find is, if anyone's familiar with Google Analytics, and I'll talk first about lead gen, and I'll go to e-commerce. So in your in your Google Analytics dashboard, you can simply filter for your conversion rate, and let's assume that's leads. So in this case of showing a conversion rate of 2.3%, ignore the channel section, just really looking at the actual overall aggregate goal. And if you look at your own website, almost invariably you'll be sitting somewhere around that. So within, call it the 2% range for a lead gen site, and again 1% or so for an e-commerce site. Once you know how bad or how good you're doing, then you know how important it is to focus on that aspect of your business or not. So what I'm going to do today is essentially take you through essentially the 3 steps in understanding and eventually improving your conversion rate yourself. You can do it, a lot of this yourself. Obviously, there's advanced tactics, but as a starting point, you can start pretty much today. So the first part in analyzing and optimizing your conversion rate is understanding funnels. Now, essentially a funnel is taking segments of your website and breaking them into distinct endpoints. So let's use an e-commerce site because most people are familiar with that. In an e-commerce site, and I think we've had speakers today already speak about some of those aspects, but you have typically 3 distinct funnels in your e-commerce checkout. That's your add to cart, that's your checkout, and that's your actual successful transaction. If you can understand the conversion rate of each of those elements or each of those funnels, then you know which part is essentially the most severely impacting your business and which is not. Jumping to a lead generation site, I always suggest people start at your contact us page, or if you have one on your pricing page, and look at what those conversion rates are looking like. Those points should lead to the very next step. So when someone gets your contact us page, the intention of a contact us page is for someone to now contact you. If they're not contacting you, there's something you can typically do to improve that stat. So first step, build these funnels, essentially segment your website into a number of different stages and know what your conversion rates at each of these stages are. Step number 2 is, now that you know what the conversion rate is in each step of your website and where the major problems are lying, the next step is to figure out why are these happening. So if anyone spent any time on conversion optimization, or if anyone spent time in the digital realm, one's probably come across the term heat maps. So I'm just kind of showing you what a heat map is. And a heat map is basically shows an aggregated view in a visual format where most people are clicking or visualizing or watching or looking at your website. Now, heat maps are one of the biggest cons in the world of conversion and the world of marketing because they serve pretty much zero purpose. Looking at this heat map, it's almost impossible to gain any true insight what to do. So you can kind of see there's a lot of clicks at the top navigation. There's a lot of clicks on each of the pricing things, but it doesn't tell you anything. It's almost impossible to become a mind reader from looking at a heat map. So totally skip over the heat map. I just wanted to mention it because it's usually the most commonly suggested thing, but it's impossible to do anything with it. So what I'm going to suggest and what I think people should be doing is using what we call video recording software. And video recording software, essentially, I'm going to play like a quick little video for you. As it loads, sorry, give me a second, it just has to jump to YouTube. So what video recording software, and this is just a display of someone's software re-recording for them, it records every session and every user that comes to the website. And what that gives you essentially is a bird's eye view, as if you're standing behind the shoulder of every one of your users and seeing what are they doing on the website. So I'll just play it through a little bit. So what you're seeing now is, again, just a recording on one of our customers' websites, and we're actually watching the mouse move. We're watching what they're doing. And from this process, from watching enough videos, we can actually start creating a few hypotheses and saying, well, we can actually see that every person is not scrolling down far enough, or every person's clicking on an image which is not a clickable image. And the more videos you watch and the more you get used to this process, the greater insight you can get and the quicker this process becomes. And it's almost becomes a simple process of understanding where everyone's going wrong. It's incredibly difficult to understand why people are having a tough time on your website by looking at your own website, because you kind of got the curse of knowledge. You look at your own website 1,000 times, and therefore you can't unsee what you've seen, because you can't see where people are going wrong. But by watching people visiting your website for the first time and essentially battling it for themselves, it really illuminates all the challenges that you may have. So one second, to have a baby just entering to help give us some help. So now that we've figured out what the problem is, and we can understand why users are getting lost on our website, the next step is to do something about it. and really do this through a data-driven approach. Now, there's a lot of tools one can use to actually, I've highlighted Optimizely, but there's a lot of tools that one can use to actually do this. But essentially what they all do, it creates a mirror version of your website and allows you to A/B test segments of your website to say that, wow, when I watched my website, I saw a lot of people weren't scrolling. So let me delete everything below a certain point, and I'm going to run around 2 tests. I'm going to send 50% of the traffic to version A of my website and 50% of my traffic to version B of the website. And then through an aggregate data approach, these programs will essentially tell you, great, your experiment worked, your hypothesis was correct, that was the issue for people, or it wasn't. And through that process, you can know what's, not by guessing or not almost in a state of uncertainty, but you can know for 100% certainty almost that this experiment that you did worked or didn't, and then you can make that change permanent on your website. So I have just, again, a very simple, very crude screenshot, but just to show you how effective small changes can be. So this screenshot on the left is original little screenshot. This is the end booking or completion form for a hotel website. And one thing through watching a lot of videos we found was that a lot of people would come to this endpoint and not book. So what we did, through these videos, we saw that there was no real reason or no sense of urgency to kind of push people over the edge. So we added this slight little flashing indicator or suggestion box, which essentially told people that this room was very popular and this room has a good chance to expire, and this price might not be available if they don't complete their booking now, to create that sense of urgency. And through that test, again, a very basic test, slight little change to the website, resulted in we call it 810% increase. So an 8 times improvement in bookings without doing anything else. So one line of little text, one line of urgency changed the bookings for a website without spending any more money on Google, without changing anything drastic to their website. But again, just by doing lots of these little tests. When you're using Optimizely or Google Optimize to run these tests, they do the little hard calculations for you. So they'll tell you that there was an 810% improvement with a probability of 97%. It's never 100%. I mean, you can get close to 100%. You can get 99.9% certainty, but through stats, you can never really get 100%. But doing a lot of these tests, you soon get the hang of what works and what won't work. And you can essentially fast track some big results fairly quickly. Lastly, what I wanted to leave everyone with is essentially 5 things you can almost do without doing the hard work, because these are 5 things which we can pretty much improve other people's sites with by usually at least 2 or 3 times in terms of the results, without even doing the research, because pretty much all websites suffer from not doing one of these 5 things. So I'll go through them quickly with you so you can all hopefully implement the easy way. So first thing is, not all traffic is created equal. Well, when you're looking at conversion rates, there's a big difference in conversion rates depending on where the traffic comes from. So the problem might not be your website, but it might be the traffic itself. So if you actually separate your traffic sources into Facebook, paid Google, organic Google, and so on, you'll be able to see the conversion rate of each different traffic medium, and from there decide, well, is each traffic medium worthwhile doing? So I think it's a great step in terms of cutting budget to say, well, which budget's actually translating into customers and which budget's actually only translating into traffic. Next thing, and this is for the lead gen sites, that landing pages are a godsend in the term of lead in the world of lead gen. Now, essentially what a landing page is, it's a little microsite for your website, and that's where you send particular targeted traffic. So if you're running a Google Ads campaign, you must run that to a landing page rather than to your normal website. So create a little microsite just for that, and you send the traffic there. This almost definitely creates a 2 or 3 times improvement in leads overnight as soon as you have well-crafted landing pages rather than a website which is not really designed for lead gen. Third suggestion is speed matters. So there's a thing called AMP sites, which essentially is just faster loading sites, particularly for mobile, and particularly in South Africa where we don't have 5G yet, and mobile speeds might not be what they are in other places. The quicker you can make your site, and it's usually a one-click conversion, a lot of website programs, the quicker you can make a site, the better your conversion rate, no question about it. Number 4, this is really for e-commerce guys only, And this is almost the landing page concept applied to e-commerce, where when someone's going through the shopping funnel in the add to cart and the checkout phase, is to remove all navigation in total. As soon as you remove all navigation, you essentially trap people as such in that funnel and take away all the distractions that can lead them to leaving. And last point, sorry I'm going a bit fast on the stage, but I'm running a little bit out of time, but is test offers. A massive difference in terms of conversion can be made with what you offer the person when they complete the form. So don't offer them a free quote. Don't offer them a callback always. Offer them something softer. Offer them something to download a white paper, view pricing, something of self-service rather than speaking to a human, which no one really wants to do these days. Always converts better than the real harder sells. And again, free quotes are totally out. One of the worst things you can actually offer. And that is it. I just finished, I think, with 30 seconds to go. Yeah, thank you.